welcome back to another video. My name is Carla, and if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button and the like button and show me some love. I upload videos 2 times a week, but if you're not new here, then welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about breastfeeding and all of my tips and tricks. Just before I start, I wanted to say that I'm obviously not a professional on this matter. Like, if you've got any problems, any concerns, do talk to your midwife or a lactation consultant or your GP, but these are just my tips and tricks from experience, from mum to mum, or expecting mum. So yeah, if you want to hear my top 5 tips, just keep watching. My first tip when it comes to breastfeeding is to join a support group on Facebook. If you've got Facebook, there are groups for absolutely everything. I'm in a breastfeeding group, and I'm also in a couple of groups for babies that were born around the same time as my son. These groups are so helpful. If you need any advice, you can just write, and there are loads of mums in similar situations that can give you their opinions and their advice. Before joining the breastfeeding group on Facebook, I didn't know if mixed feeding was something that I wanted to do, and it just made me feel so empowered reading all of these women's experiences and them showing their goals of, you know, I've been feeding for this long, and now, so I've been breastfeeding for 8 months, and it's given me drive to keep going and not introduce the formula. So I'm just going to keep going. My next goal is 1 year. So basically what I'm saying from this tip is to fill your social media with like-minded people and people that are going to support you on your journey. Tip number 2 is to persevere. In the beginning, it is very difficult breastfeeding, I have to admit. You get soreness from engorgement and nipple pain and just getting used to that baby latching on, and it is painful. But if breastfeeding really is something that you want to do, just persevere. Unfortunately, you do have to just grit your teeth through those first few weeks, but I promise you it gets better. It probably hurt me where I was like toe curling for probably the first month, but honestly I would do it again. It wasn't that bad that it's put me off or anything like that, and I'm telling you, just keep going and it will get better, I promise. If in the beginning you are really sore and your nipples are getting like scabby and they're not healing, I would suggest using nipple shields. I started using nipple shields on day 2 or 3. They got so sore, and one of the midwives at the hospital gave me these nipple shields, and they helped so much. I could just put on my nipple balm, put the nipple shields over the top, and I'd still feed my baby, and it helped so much and helped them to heal a lot quicker. And then I was a bit scared to then remove them, but after about 5 days I stopped using them, and I've been breastfeeding ever since. And yeah, I think that really helped in the beginning. We all have days where we feel like our baby isn't getting enough milk, or he's being fussy at the breast, and you don't know what's wrong, and you think it's, you know, you feel like giving up. But just give it a day or 2. It will more than likely get better the next day, but I think just persevere, give it a couple of days. Don't just let one bad day be the reason why you give up. Tip number 3 is to make sure that you stay hydrated and that you eat enough food in the day. When I first started breastfeeding, I would chug a whole bottle of water every single feed. I actually felt so thirsty in the beginning. Not so much now, I've kind of gotten used to it, but when my milk was just coming in and I had like an oversupply, I would just get so thirsty, and I felt like my baby was eating so much. So yeah, just make sure that you are topping yourself up with water, because breast milk is, I think, 80% water. I'll have to double check that, but yeah, I believe it's mostly water, so you really need to be replacing that water, otherwise you could end up dehydrated. If you haven't heard of lactation cookies, you should have a look at them. They're amazing. I used to eat loads. You can buy them. They actually sell lactation cookies at Woolies, but they don't really taste very nice. I ended up learning a recipe and making my own, and in another video I will show you the recipe. But basically it's oats with brewer's yeast and flaxseed meal, and those three combined are really good for your milk supply. Another thing is to drink lots of tea and biscuits. That's always good. Eating porridge for breakfast, that's good. You know, make sure you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. Also try and stay away from drinking alcohol, but if you do, there is a app. It's called Feed Safe. I'll show you it now. So it's called Feed Safe, and there are two options. I just started a drink, or I started my first drink earlier, and then you would put in the time. But if you said I just started a drink, when you first get the app, you put in, I think you put your height and your weight, and then it works out. So it's roughly per standard drink 2 hours for it to leave your system. So yeah, it works it out. And yeah, so it's 1:50 now. So if I was to start a drink now, I can't breastfeed until 3:45. It says 3:45 p.m. So yeah, it just gives you a guide on when is safe to feed again. For tip number 4, I am going to talk to you a little bit about mastitis. I really don't want to scare you. It's nothing, well, so here's my advice. I've had the first stages of mastitis 3 times in the 8 months that I've been breastfeeding. I think the most important thing is to catch it early, because I know that if you do leave your symptoms, then that's when it can worsen. So for me, I know when I can feel it coming on, and each time I've managed to fix it so that I don't have to go on antibiotics, and so that it doesn't worsen. So I'll make you aware, for those of you who don't know what to look out for. So I think I've got a dodgy milk duct in the top left here, because the first thing I'll notice is to touch. It kind of feels like, I feel a little bit of soreness. It's like a kind of like pressing on a bruise. So I'll feel that, and then that's when I know that, oh, I think something's coming. So the first time I got that, and then a couple of hours later, I left it, and a couple of hours later I started to develop fever symptoms. And that's when, because I had heard about mastitis before, and I knew that it could bring on a fever, that's when I assumed, I think that's what it is, and I've got soreness, which I don't normally have. So what I did was I actually asked everyone I knew who was breastfeeding, what do I do for advice, and I was told to just keep feeding on that side, and to use, if you've got a breast pump, just pump, just get all the milk out that you can, just completely empty the breast. And you've just got to do it, keep emptying the breast, keep emptying it. And I did that, and about 2 or 3 hours later it was completely gone. My temperature went down, I wasn't in pain anymore, and it was fine. That was it. It just lasted for about 3, maybe 4 hours, and that was the first time when I did leave it for quite a while, because I didn't know that it was mastitis. Now, whenever I can start to feel that bruising feeling, I know, right, get the pump out, get him to feed, like every single feed, do it on that boob, and just, you know, just keep it empty. And yeah, so that's happened 3 times now, and I have managed to avoid antibiotics, and it's never lasted more than 4 hours. Again, I'm not a doctor. I really don't want to be giving medical advice, but just for people who don't know what it feels like, that's what it feels like. It starts with, for me, it feels like a bit of a bruising feeling, and then fever symptoms occur. So yeah, if you feel that, if you've got similar symptoms to me, just try pump, feed, and see if it works for you. Hopefully it does. It's worked for me 3 times, so that's what I'll continue doing if it ever happens again. My last tip number 5, is to set yourself goals. So if breastfeeding is something you want to do, then once your baby's born, give yourself a goal, you know, I want to feed for at least the first 6 weeks. Once you hit 6 weeks, if you feel like you can keep going, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year. So just set yourself goals, and it's definitely helped me keep going. So now I'm at 8 months, so now my goal is 1 year if I can do that. And also to just ignore anyone else telling you to stop or giving you any negative comments or anything. You stop when you want to, or when it's right for you and your baby. Don't let anybody tell you to stop or make you feel any type of way about breastfeeding. You do what is right for you. Breastfeeding has so many benefits. It helps with weight management for yourself and also mood boosting hormones. It's obviously free, so you're saving money in that way. Breast milk protects your baby from stomach infections, and it helps to build your baby's immune system. It also helps with healthy brain development. So these are the tips that have helped me, but please, as I said, if you do have any struggles or anything, just contact your GP or a midwife or a lactation consultant. At the hospital that I delivered at, they actually had lactation consultants / midwives, and it was bulk billed, so it was free of charge. I believe it was either the first 6 weeks or it was the first 3 months. But yeah, you can get lactation consultants free of charge. If not, I've also had friends of mine who have paid for lactation consultants and really recommend them. So I think that would be your best bet if you were having any actual trouble with maybe latch or your baby not gaining weight. I really hope you liked watching my video, and if you're an expecting mum or a new mum, I really hope that I managed to help at least one person out there. If you liked the video, please hit the subscribe button. I post other videos similar to this one, so if you liked what you see, please subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, bye!